Do you think foldable screen would be the key for Chinese mobile brands to enter Western markets?
I think this is a great opportunity. We have already seen how well Xiaomi has managed to do in Western Europe. Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus are great examples of companies that have managed to take the lost share from Huawei. There's still this one big question mark in the air, that is the US market, that none of the Chinese brands has managed to crack, at least not yet. The biggest thing for Chinese vendors in the US market is, of course, getting into the operator channel. And I know this from working with Nokia, because we had serious problems back in the day getting into the operator channels in the US market. Now we see that more and more new innovation is also coming from the Chinese vendors. And I think it's a really, really interesting situation. And there's a lot of potential for many vendors, especially within this new form factor, to kind of innovate more. We have already seen, for example, TCL has showcased so many new different designs, like how you fold the display. I think Samsung in CES was showcasing G Fold and Z Fold. And those are really interesting form factors. Biggest problem, of course, is the cover material. So if you fold like we've seen with for example, Huawei's outward folding devices, the material, whether it's ultra thin glass or if it's plastic, it's still not durable enough to ensure that the display doesn't break. So there is a lot of innovation going on also in this cover material area. And once that has been solved, I'm sure that we will see way more interesting form factors than just these two that are the main type at the moment. Because with this new era of foldable devices, we can break out from the norm of having this one giant slab of device, and we can actually create more innovative ways to get bigger screen to smaller form factor.
Used to own 70% of global mobile sales. Why did Nokia fail to compete in the smartphone market?
Yeah, I lived through that era. I started at Nokia in 2002, so I was there at the height of their, and then I was there when they fell down. So the problem was Symbian operating system. So we had smartphones before anyone else had smartphones. So we invented smartphones basically with Symbian operating system. But the problem was scalability. So the Symbian was designed to be used with ITU-T devices. So it wasn't designed for touchscreen devices. So when the first touchscreen devices came, we tried to force the Symbian operating system into the touchscreen world, and we failed. And that was basically the problem with that, was that touchscreen devices require dual processor usage. And this is really techy now, but it explains the problem. So and even from the beginning, the touchscreen phones had CPU and GPU. That GPU did the graphics and CPU did everything else. But with Symbian, everything was run with CPU, so it didn't scale to touchscreens. And we tried to force it. We tried to put it to more powerful CPUs, but it just didn't work. We would have needed to rebuild the whole Symbian lower stack so that it would have run the graphics from different processor. So there was a lot of problems with the Symbian platform, and that kind of forced us to try to select other operating systems. So we had to leave Symbian and try to select between Android and Microsoft. And at that point, there was no clear winner. So iOS and Android and Microsoft, everyone was trying out their own style for the touchscreen devices. So we made the decision of going with the Microsoft ecosystem, which was not that successful decision. And that was kind of the worst decision that we made at that point. I don't say the Lumia devices, they were actually really, really good, but the Android was just so much more powerful, and the Google's dominance in other, like for example in search, and everyone knew Google already, and the Microsoft's kind of philosophy of how they wanted their devices to work was so much more different than what Android and iOS had in their phones. So that actually was one of the biggest reasons that the whole ecosystem fell apart, actually.